Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name is Dave Abcary and I am a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a podcast where I sit down with my fellow funny friends, my fellow comedians, and we talk about dads. Hi, how are you? How's your week been? This has been it feels like a really long week. It's been a really long week of comedy. I did get to hang out with some cool people, though. Earlier, I guess late last week, not so much earlier this week, late last week, Anthony Decimito, former Sad Dad guest, go back and listen to his episode. It's one of my favorites. Was in town, so he was crashing with me while he was doing the weekend shows. And then had a real fun guy out from the Bay Area who's actually our guest today, Corde Snell, was up, and it was the first time I'd gotten to headline him on our weekday shows. That was fun. Had the last two nights, our Monday and Tuesday, and even really our Sunday show, which is like a newer show, have been so fun. We've had some amazing turnouts. A lot of like new comics are coming out. It's really neat to see the way the scene is kind of growing, and you know, the word's out. The comedy is fun to do in Fresno again, and that just makes my heart happy. I have a happy heart. Also been gearing up for Abby going back to school. We went back to school shopping yesterday. I got her a few things. Her mom got her a few things, and I think she's got everything. It was so funny. She like didn't trust me though. I was like, we're gonna get you a lunchbox, and we're gonna get you a new thermos, and we'll get you some pencils and some markers and stuff. And she's like, Dad, I normally get that stuff with Mom. And I was like, well, okay, but like I can get you these things. And she's like, well, I don't know. I was like, I could buy you back to school things. The other day she was like, man, you know who are smart? Moms. Well, as a dad, I'm going to try not to take too much offense to this. She's so funny. I was like, dads are funnier. She's like, I don't know, man. Mom's puns are pretty solid. I'm like, what are you doing? So anyway, that's good. She's starting school tomorrow. We have back to school night tonight. I gotta go to that with her, and then jam over to our Wednesday night show. We got a real funny guy named John Hacker out of Bakersfield headlining tonight. Last night, our Tuesday night show, my headliner dropped out like really last second, like in the morning, and we got I kind of scrambled a little bit, and I got this real funny guy named Eddie Trevino who's out of the Fresno scene, and man, he's funny. Because he doesn't come out a whole lot because he's got a job and he's got two daughters, and it's and every time he comes out, it's just once in a blue moon, just burns the place down, man. Eddie is so funny. That was a great show last night. And so yeah, that's been it. I'm stoked. I got the next 2 days off of comedy. I'm happy about that. Got a real funny guy coming in for the weekend named Justin Foster. Let's see if I can get him on the show. That'd be nice. He's funny. Yeah. I'll see what I can do. Either way, today's episode, was with a gentleman I mentioned just a second ago, Corde Snell, real funny guy. Corde, man, he makes hosting this episode pretty easy. It's pretty much just set it and forget it. It's very reminiscent of the Liam Womack and Kyle Clark episodes. I just like ask a simple question and then Corde is off to the races. I really try not to do this. I did have to make some edits, though. There was some stuff I had to pull out. Not because it was bad or anything. It was just we just got so off topic. We were so in the weeds. I'm like sitting there and I'm like, how did we get here? I asked how did you get into comedy? And now we're talking about powerlifting as a vegan. And I'm like, where did we where do we go here? And Corde actually has some really cool insights into it because he is vegan. He does work out a lot, and I'm always interested in that dichotomy because you always think of like the real like the protein ass bro who's like you know protein shakes and red meat and Corde's that's not Corde, but anyway, I would encourage you reach out to him if that's something you're into. If you're into the vegan lifestyle, Corde's been living it for a long time now, and reach out to him on social media. I'm sure he'd probably be happy to give you some tips. He gave me a bunch of tips, and I have no interest in even being a vegan, so. Either way, it's a really fun episode. Corde's a great dude, and when we get to the dad stuff, it's interesting too because his upbringing actually kind of mirrors my daughter's a little bit in that she's got a real involved dad and a real involved stepdad, and and he and I get along really well, and it's similar for Corde too, where he's got these two dads that both love him to death and kind of get along with each other and co-parent pretty well. So either way, without further ado, let's just jump into the damn thing and let's do it. Guys, Corde Snell. We've done. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm swinging that. Slapping in the face with it.
Yeah.
There's a place up there we've been doing. It's a club. It's like a newer club. It's called Savage Henry's.
Okay.
And I think they just opened last year. Yeah. And it's a pretty cool spot.
Yeah.
Like when I did it, they were just. I mean, I think they had just opened maybe like a week or two before, and it was. So the turnout was okay. I mean, it wasn't a bad turnout. It was one of those things where they were still a new club, and they didn't know that, like, just because you have 200 chairs doesn't mean you need to put out 200 chairs.
So you just see the whole crowd and stuff like that. You just see like a bunch of empty seats.
Yeah, exactly. There's just like little clusters of people here and there.
And you're just like, dang, if they just didn't put out as many seats, this would have definitely been a better show.
It would have filled in. It would have been perfect.
Yeah.
And
have like a good 80 people there, but because there's 200 chairs, it's just like this spot is empty.
That was exactly what it was, dude. There was like a great turnout of people. They were just spread all over.
Yeah.
So, but you, I started recording a minute ago. But and so you. Now, where did you grow up? Because I know you talk about Santa Barbara, but where did you? Is that where you grew up?
No. I didn't even know nothing about Santa Barbara until I went down to that school. Actually, I'll get into that in a bit. But I grew up in Richmond, California.
Oh, I know Richmond.
So,
Not well, but I know. Okay, yeah.
So, like, most people are like, Coach Carter, Richmond. Yeah, that's how people like associate it. I'm like, I didn't go to that high school, but yeah, I definitely get what you're talking about, dude. Yeah. I grew up in Richmond, California. Lived in Bay Area like most of my life until I went to UC Santa Barbara, and then everybody always asks me like, "Yo, dude, how'd you get into comedy?" And so the funny thing about it was I needed an elective to take, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was between one of two classes. It was between drama class, the acting course, and La Raza Studies class, right?
Funny.
And no lie, I was so close to taking that La Raza Studies class because I was like, yo, I love the Latinas. Yeah. And I'm just going to learn more history about them, and I'm going to be able to talk in depth and just get so much like more Latinas because of that, right?
That's so funny.
But then because I had already took a drama class beforehand, Drama 101, and it was easy. I barely showed up, and I got like a B+ in the class. I was just like, well, let me go see this drama class, whatever. It was like, the council was like, go see right now. And it was like, I think the class is still there and they're still going on. I think they're still adding people, right? Mm-hmm. So I ran down there to the drama class and I met the lady and the class was just over. I was like, oh, hey, am I interrupting? And I was like, oh, the class already let out. And it was only like 13 people in there and like 100-seat theater.
Massive space.
Right? And then so she was like, oh, no, classes. Well, I just introduced everybody and stuff. She's like, oh, well, I was told to come down here and sign up for the class. He's like, okay, cool. Yeah, we can add you right now, stuff like that. I was like, what do you mean add me right now? I was like, we got a ton of space. I can give you ad code right now. She's like, oh, I was like, okay, I'll go back to the library. She's like, no, we could just go to my office and we could add you right now. I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah. She's like strong-arming you into the class.
Basically, she was like, we need like about 15 people in order for me to get paid for this class. I was like,
that's
okay, yeah.
so funny. Yeah.
And I was
like a timeshare pitch. Like,
yeah, basically. And then it was not only that, it was the class was it was just cool. And then not only that, and I was just like, I was trying to tell my homie, I was like, yo, man, come down to this class, stuff like that. Yo, it's gonna be easy. It's like drama's easy class. I've taken it before, and we're not gonna be doing that much. We're just gonna be here, probably watch some videos. And she was like, And then later, I found out the next time I went, oh, this is the acting course where we had to like read Shakespeare sonnets, memorize all this kind of stuff, act out. And I was like, oh, dang, I didn't know it was gonna be like this, right?
Did you get into it though? I mean, like,
I actually found out I was pretty good. And then so the reason why I got into comedy was because of that class. I was like making fun of like doing accents. I was like making fun of people how they came in, how they walked. Or then I was like making my professor had like this really stern voice, and he would take a question in. Look at you, like put his hand on his chin, and then expel like how he was going to talk. He was like, some people in this class don't take this class that very seriously, and when in life, sometimes you need to take the things seriously that's in front of you in order for you to go places, because otherwise you might not get where you want to go, and you might become a failure. And I was just like, did he just all call us failures in here? And then so me and my homie replayed that back to him and just started acting out. And we was like, yo, man, how crazy it would be to because he had a wife at the time and stuff like that. And he was like, well, brother, was you always this smooth? Did you like walk up to your wife and was like your future wife at the time was like, hi, my name is Terrence. I find you attractive. Do you find me attractive? Yes, no? Well, if not, how about I buy you a drink? And then the more drinks you'll find me, that more attractive. Also, what are you doing next week?
You should blend that guy. You should blend that guy with the guy from your act that does everything three times. That
joke is so dang funny, and I love it so much because the more and more I've improv because of that drama class, I've learned the improv stuff, and I really don't go I go off script sometimes, but it's very rarely I go off script a lot. But because I'm doing that joke at a bunch of different open mics, I've added stuff over to it, and I started noticing that those little few things that add to it adds a lot to it. So later in that drama class, she was like, hey, because I was making fun of him and I was doing this much, like, you heard you're funny and stuff. I was like, nah, I just like making fun of people. I tell funny stories here and there. She's like, that's comedy, you should do comedy. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, right?
That's funny.
And then she was like, no, you are. I was like, no, I'm not. So we went back and forth for a few weeks, and then she was like, hey, if you don't do this class, if you don't do comedy in my class, you won't pass. And I was like, oh, I was like, well, I don't really I don't go write stuff down. I don't know how to write stuff down because I was so scared of getting up there and tell jokes. I just kind of act on a whim, and I could just do that. She's like, no, you can't do that because you can only do that for 30 seconds, maybe tops. And then if people don't respond immediately, you start freezing up and trying to think. So you need to write stuff out. I was like, well, I don't know how to write and stuff like that. So then she's like, how about this? You just act out what you're doing, and I'll type it down. And I was like, well, I kind of speak kind of fast. She's like, I write 120 words per minute.
Hey, there you go.
And I was like, this white lady won't let me quit.
That's so funny. What you said you grew up in Richmond? What's Richmond like?
Richmond is cool.
Because that's up near Sacramento area.
No. It's over. It's about 10 minutes from Berkeley.
Oh, okay. I'm way off.
Yeah, you're way off. So Richmond was cool. I liked it a lot. It was a cool place to grow up. But then growing up, especially where I live, where I moved to was near my grandma's house. It was a lot of homicides in the area. Like one time we beat out Oakland in the number of homicides that year.
Wow.
So I remember when Richmond started getting better as the white people started moving, right? They were saying yo, Richmond's so much better now. Why is that? I remember before it was all these homicides, all these shootings, and all these killings. What happened? And I was like, well, I think honestly what happened was either people who was gangbanging got killed or locked up in jail now. So that's literally how it got better. And then rent, they started raising rent all over Richmond, and then people started moving to Antioch, Fairfield, and eventually Sac. I heard Sac is getting bad now because it's so pricey in the Bay Area. Everybody moves way out there and stuff. Or maybe Fresno. I don't know.
That's wild. And what kind of kid are you growing up? Are you a real outgoing, precocious kid? Or no?
Dude, I was so shy growing up.
Were you really? I don't believe it.
No, I know. So most people don't believe that, mainly because I have an older sister who I used to always be next to all the time. The funny thing about it, my mom literally thought there was something wrong with me because I never spoke for the first 2-3 years of my life. Right?
Funny.
But the thing about it, I was always so attached to my older sister, who was a year and a week apart from me. Every time somebody would ask me stuff, I would look to her, and then she would answer for me. How you doing? And she'd be like, he's good. It'd be like, what does he like to do? Oh, he likes to play with toys. He likes to do this kind of stuff, right? Oh, wow. And then my doctor took my sister out the room and my mom out the room because when he took my sister out, she just looked at me. I looked at my mom to answer stuff like that. And then he eliminated most people, and then found out that no, I actually can talk. It's just that I just depend on older siblings most of the time.
Right.
And then It wasn't until high school I really started to come out of my shell. Well, actually, I'll say probably like 4th, 5th grade, I started coming out of my shell a little more. And then like really high school, I really started to come out of my shell, start being really me, because my homie was telling me, he was like, hey, bro, you can't be shy and stuff like this around girls, because you ain't never gonna get no girlfriend and stuff like that. He was like, man, open yourself, be you, you. And then so I started to become like a class clown kind of. Well, not even a class clown. I just started to tell jokes a little bit and stuff like that here and there, because I was always comfortable with my friends. But as soon as I got around my older cousins, who's like a year or two older than me, and my sister, I would just be real quiet, and I would just like follow their lead. And I would just go behind them and stuff like that.
Sure.
So then, so most of the time people be like, yo, dude, you must be like this really energetic kind of kid and stuff like that. You were like very outgoing. I'm like, no, I was very quiet.
How funny. After you like had that epiphany, did your relationship with your sister change, or did you guys,
actually, it got worse.
It got worse.
It got worse because like around the 3rd grade, your sister doesn't want to be around like her little brother and stuff like that. So she started like finding like annoying. She started getting mature. So I always felt like her friend, like it was like a divide that I sensed that like happened. Like, and so we was never that close again as we used to. Like I remember it was a picture like of me and her together. She's like taller than me and stuff like that. And now I'm like taller than her. And then it was like oh man, y'all was so close back then. What happened? Yeah. And I was like, well, fucker, she got friends who was annoying and stuff like that. That's what happened. Like I didn't change. I stayed the same. She changed. Yeah, right. I was still the little brother looking for her guidance, but then she started like, "Why are you guys around me? That's how you be my friend." That kind of thing. So
what? And then did you have a big family? I mean, you mentioned your mom. Did you have just the one sister?
Nah, so my mom and my dad were never married or whatever. They dated for like several years. Yeah. So my dad had 2 previous daughters before us, and then with my mom, he has 2 kids with us.
I got you.
Or with her. And then my mom actually got married to my now stepdad, but he's been in my life since 1, so that's my dad too.
Oh, word, yeah.
And then, we adopted my cousin at like 2 weeks, whatever. And then so that's like my little brother, and then they had a kid of their own, and that's my baby brother. So
oh wow,
yeah. So like me and my sister, my youngest, but sister who was older than me, were a year and a week apart. Me and my little brother were 8 years apart, and then me and my baby brother were 16 years apart.
Wow.
Yeah. So I always tell people, I was like, me and my brothers are both 8 years apart. Like, it's weird.
That is kind of funny. Yeah. So you each have like that same spacing. Yeah. Because it's like because my older brother is 14 years older than me, and I've said this on the show before, but like when there's a gap like that, it almost feels like they're like more like an uncle, because they're only there for like holidays and everything else, and like it's hard to have that relationship, or at least that brotherly relationship with that kind of a gap like that. So, but it's cool though. It sounds like you guys all get along.
Well, mainly because my mom had my baby brother when I was 15 and a half in high school, so then I used to watch him, stuff like that, and I remember it was like kind of stressful and things like that. And then I immediately popped up because people in high school having kids and shit like that. Yeah, and I was like, yo, how crazy is it that people my age are having kids? And they don't even. I used to be like, they don't even know.
Right. There's a realistic possibility. You could be out pushing your brother's stroller and they'll be like, oh, is this your son?
Yo, no lie. One time I was at the hospital and my old baseball coach saw me and my sister and my baby brother, and he was like, oh, you started a whole family. Your dad would have been proud of you. I was like, coach, this is my sister right here, the one who used to be at every practice, and that's my baby brother right there. He was like, oh, my bad, man. He was like, now I'm looking at you. Y'all do look kind of similar. I was like, yeah, that's creepy, coach.
That's so funny. Did you play sports growing up?
Of course I did. Yeah. Like my dad, my biological father put me into baseball very early.
Oh yeah.
Because he was a huge baseball dude. He was great. I remember he used to be at my practice. Like some dude, like dads be like, I used to be the shit back in the day, yada yada yada. Yeah. He never told me how good he was, but my family told me about how good he was.
Oh really?
That's how I knew he was really good, because they were like, I was like, man, my dad always be getting on me about I'm lazy and stuff like that. He was like, your dad could have went pro back in the day.
Really?
And then the kid, I was like, I asked him, I was like, Dad, why didn't you go pro? He was like, oh, I just didn't want to, so I did like some of the stuff. But then like what really happened was he got his first girlfriend pregnant at the age of 18 at the first time he ever had sex. Yeah. And then so right. So he immediately went into the Air Force to support his new family and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, you couldn't explain that to a 7-year-old kid so he's some artist and whatever. It was racism back then or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Because he's from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh wow.
Like country. So I know Fresno's country, stuff like that, but
But this is like gentrified country, we're still only like a few hours from LA and San Francisco. So
So I remember we went to where he grew up, and we literally had to drive. You know how they say I'm driving into the city. Country. The city was 30 minutes away.
Right.
And I was like, what the, I've never been to, like this
Yeah,
part,
yeah.
right?
We call it going into town. I was like, I'm gonna run into town.
Yeah. So because of him, I got into baseball real early from like ages of 4 or 5, stuff like that, playing t-ball, then eventually playing like a bunch of other like baseball stuff, and then like up to like the age of like basically until he passed when I was 11. So I stopped playing like around 10, but then I remember like he told me we had great work ethic and stuff like that, and then after that my stepdad was really into basketball, so I started playing that. Like I love that a lot, and that's a lot of my cousins played. And then
were you pretty good?
Yeah, I was pretty good, dude. I was like Baby Shaq, dude. Like literally Baby Shaq, because I used to watch his game. I used to call myself I'm Baby Shaq, but I can make my free throws. Because my stepdad taught me how to shoot free throws. He was like, you need a good rhythm to the thing, spin the ball, stuff like that, catch the ball, and then like it's like when you shoot, like kind of hand forward and stuff. So I made like a lot of free throws like that. And then what happened was literally like just people just outgrew me. Like I was like because I remember in 8th grade I had a huge growth spurt. I remember like it was weird because I remember I was like, yo, I remember I could barely touch the net, but now all of a sudden I'm grabbing rim all of a sudden. So I went from 5'2" to 5'9.5" in about 4 months.
Oh wow!
So I always had this huge growth spurt, but I didn't know what was going on, right? And then so I took hella aspirin, so I actually stunted my growth spurt.
Oh really? Does that happen?
Well, because you know, like just take a few aspirin here and there. They was like that won't bother you. I was taking like bottles of aspirin because my body was just hurting. So I went probably like
growing.
Because I went through probably like 3 bottles of aspirin.
But it stunts your growth. I didn't know
because at a young age like that, kids aren't supposed to be taking like aspirin.
Oh sure. Yeah.
So if I'm taking 2 a day for like hella times, and sometimes taking 4 a day because my body's just killing me. Like my dad was like, my stepdad was like, you just need to stretch. You just need to stretch. You just need to stretch.
My bones are expanding.
Right. I was like, Mom, my legs hurt. My legs just. I was like, my leg. I felt like my legs were just growing.
Yeah, I remember those growing pains, like growing up like that. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. And then so the fun thing about it was, I was like, Mom, we're just gonna go to the doctor. And my mom was like, she's a nurse, so she had to go back to work for any purpose. Like I'm not trying to go. And then we finally had a schedule. We finally scheduled an appointment. I went in there after like months of telling her my body's been hurting for like a while because I went in that summer and we went in that February. And so funny thing about it was what was it? My mom had my birthday's in June. So my mom usually buys me like a new pair of shoes, right? And I remember I was like, Mom, I can't really wear these shoes no more. Like I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they're pretty small. Mom was like, I just bought you those shoes. What are you talking about? It is past December, stuff like that. I'm not buying you no more shoes. Oh no. Okay, hold up. I forget this timeline, but I remember she had bought me shoes. I think it was going into Christmas. I had to hit this huge growth spurt.
Oh, okay.
So usually I get like a pair of shoes for my birthday. I get a pair of shoes for like the New Year, and then I get a pair of shoes like for the school year, and then I get a pair of shoes for before Christmas. I think I hit this growth spurt before Christmas happened because it was in between the time of me like having old shoes and getting new shoes. And my mom was like, yeah, I just bought you those shoes in June. Why are you trying to complain and say you need new shoes? The other shoes you'll beat up, whatever. You still need to wear those shoes, stuff like that. So then when we found out I was in a huge growth spurt, like it was like your son came in here and he was like 5'1", 5'2", and now he's 5'9.5". So it's like in a huge growth spurt in a short amount of time. And then my mom was like, well, in a growth spurt, like, can it make your feet grow? And the doctor was like, yeah, his feet can,
your whole body gets bigger.
Yeah, right? And then so we went to we left straight from there and went to Foot Locker. And my mom was like, please tell me he's in 10.5, right? He's in the 10.5, right? He's in the 10.5 shoe, right? Please tell me. He keeps complaining about his feet hurt. He's in the 10.5, right? The guy, like after he measured me, he went to size, looks at my mom, and he was like, your son is in a size 12 shoe.
And you were just cramming your feet into those tiny old shoes.
Right. And my mom was like, go pick out 2 pairs of shoes, right? Because it literally, I just had this huge growth spurt all of a sudden. Like I skipped the whole size of 11, and then my mom was like, well, why is he wearing these size 10.5 shoes? And they looked at the shoes. They was like, man, those things are so beat up and broken in. It probably is flexible and stuff like that. And then I had like a few pairs of new shoes and stuff like that because after that. It was crazy. And then like throughout, when I went to high school I was like 5.5, 5'10" or whatever. So from between freshman year of high school to senior year, I grew 2 inches.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I went from playing basketball and seeing like dudes who was like 6'4" or 6. I remember my homie was 6'2" playing point guard. Wow. And I was like 5'10" trying to play center. I was like,
yeah, I think it's difficult.
I don't think it's going to work out that much. And I was kind of chubbier and stuff like that. So I was like, I think I'm going to stick with football. So I stuck with football for the rest after that. So, and then like the tallest I ever got, I'm like 6 foot now. But I was so pissed because I was like, dude, I was 5'2", then 5'9.5", and then over the course of high school, 2 inches. What the fuck? I was like, I was supposed to keep selling, 5'9.5", 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot by the end of freshman year, and then I was gonna keep on going to like 6'4". That's what I wanted.
You just pictured yourself at 6'4". What after high school, did you go straight into college, or did you have like one of those gap years where you just tried to figure yourself out?
No gap year.
You backpack across Europe.
That's white people do.
Try to find yourself.
No lie,
I love bullshit.
I did think I needed that because I remember like at the time I was like so I was like chubby in high school. I was like 240, 250, right? But then I wanted to play linebacker because I wanted to play 2 positions. They was like, yo, either you could play go to because I didn't take the SATs and something like that. I didn't really know how to like prepare myself for college. Like none of my parents went to college, so I was like take the SAT and I didn't take it. It was like, well, you can't go to school, whatever. But my grades wasn't the best thing too because of life stuff, and so I went to a junior college, and it was like, yo, my coach told me, he was like, you can do 1 or 2 things. You need to become a center or you become a linebacker. So you need to gain a bunch of weight or you need to lose about 20, 30 pounds and get real fast.
And like growing up, were you, I mean, because I know you had said that you hadn't really like thought about doing comedy, but were you like a comedy nerd growing up?
Oh, all the time, dude.
Yeah. What were you watching? Or who were you watching?
BET. I mean, I later found Def Comedy Jam because I had cursing. I couldn't watch it growing up. But yeah, like my family used to sit down and watch Comic View every night of the week when it came on. I used to watch Martin. Yeah. I watched Fresh Prince. I watched a lot of comedies and stuff like that. Like, it's funny because like I never thought of myself as a comedian ever doing stand up and stuff, but I watch all these dudes who were hella funny, like most people probably did.
Yeah.
And then from the 8th to like about 12th grade, me and my homies would roast the fuck out of each other every day.
Right.
Like I remember I went to a mainly white school my 7th grade year. Well, actually, I went to a lot of white schools all growing up. Like my elementary school was a really white school, but it had like black people there. And then my first year in junior college was a real white school. Like I don't really know, but it had like a small section of black people. Yeah. And then I transferred over to Portland, which is more of the black school with like lower budgets. The food's not good. Lockers ain't shit. All this other kind of stuff. Like, oh, we taking Spanish 1, but the teacher can't control the kids and all this other kind of stuff. So I went. That was like my first time at a real black school. Yeah. And then I met one of my old homies who I knew since like 5th, 6th grade. Yeah. Was hanging out with these other dudes. His name was Elias, and this other big dude. He was like, oh yeah. He's like, we cap on each other. I was like, what? He's like, we cap on each other. I was like, what's that? He's like, we just talk smack about you, but everybody didn't cuss, so they was like, we talk shit to everybody, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. So I remember I was just there standing, I was just trying to get that. I was like, oh man, you look like you look like and then so we carried that on to high school, and we used to roast we were like best friends. Roasting the fuck out of each other, every day. And remember one time we tried to not do it, right? This is back when white tees, blue jeans, and Nike was in, right? And we was like, hey, we ain't gonna roast each other today. We're just gonna enjoy it. We was gonna have a cool time.
We're just gonna have fun.
And it was with each other. So quiet. And we was just like, all right. And then we just kind of laughing at each other. He's like, what you laughing at? I was like, no, I'm just. And he's like, we ain't roasting each other. We ain't roasting each other. One of my homies was eating a pizza. Then all of a sudden, a little bit of pizza sauce dropped on his fresh white T-shirt.
Oh no!
Then one of my homies was like, this motherfucker got period blood on his shirt. And then after that, we was like, yo, after this, man, we can't do it, man. We just got to roast each other. So then after that, I realized that I think it was always in me, and I was always practicing. I just didn't know it.
Yeah, right. It was always kind of in there. And then, I mean, so what was your first? I mean, the first like open mic you did. I mean, did you technically your first set was in that theater class?
It was just in a theater class.
Oh wow!
So I remember, it was actually so the lady set up the first time I ever went to go perform at the theater that we normally had drama class in. Jesus. So it was like an event and everything, right? So my first time performing on stage was in front of 100 people.
Oh jeez.
Right? Yeah. And I was just like, yo, this is, what the hell is going on? What did I get myself into? And I was like, just come on. And everybody, and you know how everybody's like, usually like that, you ever meet that one dude who's like hella confident, stuff like that, right? That was kind of like me in the class. Sure. But on that night, I was so nervous, dude. I was so nervous. It was crazy. And then literally after, like, everyone's going up, stuff like doing like doing whatever and stuff. I was like, okay, well, that was good, but I'm gonna go up there, I'm gonna bomb, I'm gonna do bad. I know it. I said, no, just think positive.
Was anybody else doing stand up, or was it just you in that situation?
Everybody was doing stand up that night.
Oh, I see.
So it was but it wasn't. But the people in there, they weren't in the class. I think it was like 1 or 2 other people in the class who was doing it. But then everybody else was like had took drama beforehand. It was like, oh yeah, she let us do comedy. And it was like a few other people who like did comedy beforehand, or did like her shows where it was like comedy based or stand up comedy based.
Yeah.
And then like I remember I was going up, I was like, okay, man, I just got these jokes, just keep going over, just keep reviewing them, right? So I went up there, and my joke was like, I like to go to the gym. And somebody laughed in the crowd, was like, or said, somebody in the crowd said something, and then it was like, ha, 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 and then like the whole crowd started laughing, and somebody else in the crowd said to me, and I was like,
oh no, I'm getting roasted.
Right?
This guy's got period blood on his shirt.
Yeah, I was like, so in my head, I was like, what the fuck I do? Should I cuss him out? No, it's supposed to be G, supposed to be PG, right? I was like, should I run off stage? I was like, run off stage, just run off stage, and my feet, like, I couldn't move, and I was like, just stay, just keep trying to say the joke over and over, and I was like, and then somebody was like, shh, and everybody quiet back down, and I was like, okay. I was like, so I like to go to the gym. I was like, yeah, and I was like, because of the woman, and they were like, oh, that makes sense. Because I'm like chubby, so I'm like, yo, they were like, you don't like to go to the gym. I think somebody was like, you don't like to go to the gym, you chubby, right? And then after that, I did really well, and I got like a few people stood up and applauded and stuff. I got like a really good reaction.
Yeah,
and then a bunch of the homies in the back who was doing stand up too for the first time was like, dude, man, you was hella funny. That was really good. Yeah. And I was like, really, that was. And then that was my first time on stage, and I think the funny thing about it, I was barely up there. Like I remember, it was like a DVD they gave us. I think I was up there for about 3.5 minutes, and 30 seconds was them heckling me.
That's so funny. And then you just were like, you caught the bug and started doing mics. And
well, I didn't no, dude. So I didn't do mics for 2 years.
Really?
I just kept doing the shows she kept putting on because I didn't know nothing about mics. Right. I didn't know nothing about the open mics. I didn't hear nothing about open mics. Like Facebook, I wasn't really on it. Well, no, I was on Facebook then, but I didn't know any like comedy groups of where they posted it, all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm just on here, just like okay, when's the next show? I got this little bug. I want to talk about this one thing, but then my teacher, she thought I was kind of remedial or that I had a learning disability. Right? Because I would never write. She's like, I got this really talented kid, but he never writes. And then she found out, no, I was like, I just don't want to write. And she's like, oh, you're not slow, you're just lazy. And I was like, damn, okay.
That's that's your comedy album title right there.
Right.
Not slow, just lazy.
Yeah. So then she like said, because she told me I need to write every single word down that I do when I'm about to say something on stage. I have to write it all out. And I was like, I don't think like that sometimes. Like sometimes I just go up there and improv stuff. She's like, well, you can't always just improv stuff. And then so she started teaching me that I need to write stuff down, or sometimes I would literally like write like a week before the show was about to happen, so I'd come up with like 5-10 minutes of jokes. Right. I never practiced on it. I was like, I'm just gonna go up there and wing it. I did good the first show, so I'm gonna go good on these next few shows, right?
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm just one of those comedians that doesn't bomb. Good for me.
So then, right, and I was doing good, but it wasn't, because as the more shows we did there, it was like less and less people. So I'm thinking, oh, it's always gonna be 100 people, so I'm just gonna make all these people laugh. I'm always gonna do good and stuff. And then after a while, I was like, yo, I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, we need to do more shows. I wrote some jokes down. She's like, oh my god, you've been writing, oh my god, right? But it wasn't until like 2012 that I did a show at Tommy T's where I had met a few people who was doing open mics at the time and stuff, and then was going off and doing shows, and then I got invited to do Tommy T's in Pleasant for the first time. I was like, shit, so I definitely want to do this, right? But I was like, man, having a comedy like over a year. Yeah. And then like they were, and then so first time they was like, yeah, we gonna give you about 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes? That's a long time.
That is a long time, man.
I was like doing other stuff. I was like, man, the most I ever did was about 5, maybe 7 minutes. So I came up with this joke that stretched out about 7 minutes, and it was just so long. People was like, yo, man, you was good, man, but that joke was just so long, right?
That said it was so long.
And I was just like, I was trying to fill time, dude. And then after that, my homie was like, all right, man, you was cool. Oh, that was a good set. Like, you didn't bomb like the other dude before you. But he was like, man, you need to start writing. So he was like, he told me, he was like, hey, he was like, all right, write this stuff down. He was like, it's a mic this night, it's a mic this night, it's a mic. And so I wrote all this stuff down. That's when I first started hitting open mics. Yeah. Because he told me about all the ones that was on Mondays, it was on Tuesdays, it was on Wednesdays, it was on Thursdays. He's like, sometimes it's one on Friday or Saturday. But then he's like, there's this one on Sunday. It's like, it's kind of a shitty mic, but they do gives you 10 minutes, so you can just go up there and practice for like a long time. Yeah. So I just kept doing a lot of those mics. So I always say I really started doing comedy in 2012 because that's when I first hit my first open mic.
Yeah. So, and then you've been doing the road a bunch. Yeah. That's rad, man. Yeah. You're Corde Snell.
Yeah, Corde Snell.
And this is a podcast called Sad Dad where we talk about our dads. Yeah. You've mentioned both of them. So I guess we'll start with your biological dad.
Okay.
Where did you say he grew up?
He grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana, or outside of Shreveport, Louisiana. Shreveport is the city, so he grew up in a smaller town that was 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Very country, very rural. I think my grandpa built the house that they lived in for like all them years. I went down and visited when I was like 8 or 9. It was so hot out there. It was like 95 degrees, and it was so hot, so many bugs and getting bit up constantly. And they didn't have like good cable, and it was like, y'all some city folks out here. What you talking about? So I was out there for 2.5 weeks,
just sweating it out.
And I was like real skinny then too. I was just sweating it out. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. Why are we here? And then I remember the funny story that everybody remembers and everybody always tells. He was like, it's that one time I had freaked out or whatever, and then like I was just crying and crying and crying, talking about, oh my dad, where is he? Where did he go? So where did he go? Right? And then everyone was like, yo, and then so they called my dad, who literally just went like up the street a little bit to like my aunt or like my cousin's house, whatever, and was like there for like, I think they said he was there for like about 15 minutes, but I thought he was gone for like an hour or so.
Oh wow! And
then they was like, yo, why was you? And he was like, I can't go nowhere without you. He was like, what happened? I was like, I thought you left. He was like, no, I didn't leave. I said, no, he told me he left. I was like, and then so I was like, man, he was just crying and crying. I was like, what happened? So I woke up from a nap. And my sister, this is when my sister loved to play games on me. I woke up from a nap because it was like hot, but I woke up because it was still hot and stuff like that, right? So I went to sleep because it was hot, and then woke up because it was still hot. Yeah. So then I was tired. So then my sister told me that Daddy left us, and we're gonna be here for the rest of the summer.
Oh no, she's just
right. And I was like, no, he didn't. Daddy wouldn't leave us like that. He would say, he's like, no, he left. Yeah. And we're going to be here for the rest of the summer. And this was 2 weeks in, and we was going to leave that Wednesday. So this was the Monday, and I was counting down the days. No. So she was like, yeah, no, he's gone.
Yeah, just broke your heart.
We're going to be here. We're going to keep making peas. We're going to stay here for a little bit longer. And I was like, no, Mommy's going to agree. She's like, no, Mommy said she's not going to come. She agreed with us. Like, Mommy agreed to it too. I was like, why did they do this to us? I want to go. No, I was like, where is that? And so I'm crying hysterically because of how bad it was there, or how much I didn't like it, and I was so close. I was so excited that we were about to leave. He straight up lied to me, and then he was like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "Well, Shanika told me." No, I didn't. No, I was like, she told me you was left, Daddy, and then we was gonna be here for 2.5 more weeks, and then I was like, I just want to go, Dad. I just want to go. But she said we was gonna stay here all summer. Daddy, she said you left us. He was like, what? I was like, she said you left us. You have flown back to California, and we stayed out there the whole rest of the summer, and then Mommy wasn't coming to get us. I thought it was abandoned day. That's what I thought that happened. And he was just like, oh, this little boy's imagination is crazy.
It's wild. Hang on 1 second. Did you need something, baby? No. Oh, no? Okay. If you want to play on my computer, you can. If you want to do Roblox or whatever. Oh, yeah. You do want to do that? Okay, cool. Yeah, you can go ahead. Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah. And so, what was your dad like as a kid? Do you have any idea? I mean, was he like you?
Very hard nosed.
Was he?
Now I'm like him, honestly, which is very weird. Okay. Like, I remember he used to listen to sports talk radio all the time. He listened to baseball. I thought it was so dry. I remember he would take us out to eat every Wednesday and stuff like that. It was just cool for me and my sister, but I used to hate. He just always listened to sports. It was so boring.
Oh, really?
I remember I used to make my stomach hurt after we eat and stuff like that. I was like, Dad, can we? And he would never take the freeway.
The sports talk would make your stomach hurt?
That's what I felt. I felt like it did. Funny. I don't know what it was. I was like, I felt like it did that, right? And then so he would do that. I was like, Dad, can we please listen to the regular radio? The sports talk is making my stomach hurt. And then that's when I taught myself how to go to sleep, because I used to hate listening to it. So I'll force myself to go to sleep so I wouldn't have to listen to it on the way home, because I always took the streets no matter what, because it was always traffic on the freeway. Right. No matter what time, it was always traffic.
You hated sports talk so much you came up with like a superpower.
Yeah, right. So then the fun thing about it now, I listen to another podcast that talks about sports, talks about football, and all that kind of stuff. I don't listen to baseball, but it's all about football, basketball, and like other random podcast stuff like that. I was like, oh, snap, I become my dad. It's like I get on the freeway, I just be in traffic though. But yeah, also like he was very stern and very hard on me, which I didn't like a lot of times. Like I actually quit baseball because of him. Because I remember it was like we had practice Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so he would make us practice Tuesday, Friday, Saturday.
Jeez.
Right? And
how old are you at this time?
8,
Jeez,
9,
man.
right? And I'm hating it because then he would compare me to my older cousin who's 2 years older than me. And he was like, why aren't you as good as him? And I'm like, Dad, you don't know math? I was like, Dad, I'm 8.
Yeah.
He's 10.
Yeah, he's like 7 inches taller than me.
Yeah. And like he was like faster, and he was like just naturally fast, stuff like that. And I would try it too. And I started getting like kind of husky because you start getting that baseball body.
Yeah.
Where it's like, legs, thighs, and then but you can like hit the ball. And I always played the outfield, right? And like I had like a good arm and stuff, but then I started getting to pitching. But then one of my coaches messed up my arm because he let me pitch for like an hour.
Oh no!
And I'm like a kid. I remember I had like this like red vein thing that was like right here. God. So they said I might have busted like a blood vessel in my arm, and it messed up my throwing for like the longest. But then he was just so hard on me. And then one day I was like, Dad, I'm bored, because I was at his house because we'd always go over his house on weekends, and or every other weekend. And then like we stayed the whole time. And I was like, Dad, I'm bored. And he was like, you bored? I was like, yeah, I'm bored. So I'm thinking we're gonna go to Costco. He loved Costco. Loves Costco. I was like, Dad, you ain't got no pictures or nothing you need to go pick up? Because he was really into photography. I was like, you ain't got no pictures? And then I like the fact we go to Costco because I know he's going to get like a Polish dog.
Yeah.
Off the chain, right? And then also I could probably go there and watch like some movies, stuff like that he like the news. I remember like they revamped the Empire Strikes Back around that time. So they kept showing like all those Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could go through and look for like a bunch of his different photos, stuff like that. So I had something to do, get out the house, right?
Yeah.
He was like, okay, you bored? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, cool. So let's go practice. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm tired. I was like, and it was like hella hot, and we was out there, and he was like hitting. And then I remember my dad used to think I got cocky and stuff like that. So I remember he was like, I always tell him, don't throw the ball hecka hard because I know you're stronger than me and stuff. And then so when it felt like I always get cocky, he would like start throwing the ball hella hard, which I found out he did the same thing to my older cousin. And I was like, man, why did he do this? I don't know. Your dad was like that. So then. He's like throwing it at me. I'm like pitching, and I'm hitting it. And then one time he throw a bar like hecka hard. Like I'm like 8. Like this is man strength. I'm an 8-year-old. Yeah. And then I make ball contact, and it hits me, and I dropped the bat because the ring and just like dropped, and then it goes back and it hits him, and I was like, oh snap, right?
Oh shit.
and then he's like, all right, no more batting practice, get in the field and stuff like that. So he puts me on the edge of like the I was like the dirt, but then like the green around it. So I was sitting on the edge, and he was like hitting pop flies up to me, stuff like that. Then he was hitting like grounders to me, and then some was coming in faster than others. Then one like pop fly was like way. It's like, so like I'm over here getting good because I'm like, oh shit, it's paying off. I'm like, he hits to the left, I get it. He hits to the right, I get it. He's hitting my knee, like under my knees, I got it, right. And he was like, oh, you think you're good, huh? You think you're trying to show off? I was like, no, Dad, I'm just getting better, right. So then he hits a pop fly up to me. And then it goes way over my head. And I was like, Dad, we ain't doing that. I'm not playing outfield. I'm playing third base. You got to go get it. You got to go get that.
Yeah, it's making you run down the ball.
Right? And then I was like, man. So he did it a few times. And then another one, I felt like he like bounced up one and made it hecka bouncy for like no reason stuff, right? And then so it kind of hit me, and I got mad. He's like, that's further when you hit me with the ball. I wasn't even trying to hit you. And then so one time I did again with left, catch it, right, catch it, goes underneath my legs, catch it. And then another time, so he has another pop fly like way over my head, and I was like, I'm not getting it. he was like, you going to go get it? I was like, I'm not getting it. No, I'm not. And he was like, you better go get my ball. I was like, I'm not getting it. He's just gonna quit. I was like, yeah. He was like, go get the ball. I was like, no. I was like, I'm tired of this. You always, and I took my glove and I threw it down. I was like, you always do this to me. I was like, you always I'm hitting it left, I'm hitting it right, I'm doing it. I don't want to be out here. It's hot. Then all of a sudden you get mad at me for no reason. Dad, I was like, you want to put me out here. And then all of a sudden you just hit a pop ball over my head for no reason. And then I got to go get it. I was like, I don't want to go get it. You go get the ball. So he's like, what you going to do? You'll quit? I was like, yes. I was like, quit. And then he like goes off and he walks up and he, I think he's going to hit me and stuff like that. He just walks past me and I was like, oh. So he goes against the ball. And they walk in the car. He walk to the car, and I was just like, he was like, "Why you quit?" I was like, "Yeah, I just can't do this sometimes." Like because it was like you compare me to everybody else. And you say I'm not as good as them, and then they all older than me. Like my cousin was out here in church shoes one time. He was actually getting the ball. He had no coordination, not as good as me, but you saying he better than me. But my cousin was like, so I had two cousins. One was really fast. Another one was like fast too. But then he started becoming hecka strong. I was like, he's like, he'd throw better than the Cardellas or Corde and stuff like that, right? And I was like, no, he can't. Like he got a terrible throwing motion. He jumps up and he throws straight like this instead of like weird. Coming forward and stuff like that. He can't. He don't know how to hold a baseball bat. So he's not better than me. He's just older. And I was like, Dad, you just told. I was like, I don't feel like playing. I was just doing all this to me. I was like, and then we got to practice like that. He's like, well, you got to practice to get better. You want to be an outfield the whole time? I was like, no. He's like, you want to play second base? I was like, I do want to play second base. He was like, well, why don't you practice to get better? I was like, Dad, I was like, I do practice to get better. I was like, but when the coach's son is on the team, if his son want to play second base, his son gonna play second base.
Yeah.
So I want to play center field, could be the best center field, because I know when I get an actual good coach, I can play second. I can go out for second base. He's like, well, you got to practice. And I was like, Dad, I ain't trying to practice. I'm trying to watch Pokemon.
Was he at this time? Was he still in the Air Force?
No. He averaged. So he had. He said he had an engine had fell on his shoulder and dislocated his shoulder, and he took a bone off his shoulder, stuff like that.
Oh,
so he had like medical leave and was paid from the Air Force for the rest of his life until his passed.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he was like on that. So he just I don't think he ever worked again because I think the package he got from the military was so damn good.
Sure.
Because I don't even know how long he was in there, but he passed when he was 59. He was still collecting checks from them.
Wow.
And he was able to buy a house, stuff like that too.
Oh, wow.
So I think it was a good settlement, you know.
Yeah.
So,
how did he end up in California?
So him and my uncle both all moved out. I think what it was that they was tired of living in Louisiana. Louisiana, you know, especially in the country part of it, is probably kind of racist, stuff like that. So they left, and one went to the Air Force to get out, which is my dad. Then my other uncle, two of my uncles went to Grambling out there in Louisiana, which is a great school, historically black college. And then everybody moved out because nobody wanted to stay in Louisiana. Yeah. Like one of my uncles lives in Florida. His name's Raymond. My other uncle lives in Washington, D.C. Then my uncle lives in Richmond. He lives in Richmond. He moved to Oakland for the longest, but now he moved to Richmond. He's retired now. He was a teacher at Alameda College for like the longest. He retired from there, and he lives in Richmond now, like this nice little gated area. So yeah.
How did you folks meet?
I don't know. I think my mom liked to bowl, and he liked to bowl too.
Oh, they met bowling?
Yeah,
that's adorable.
I know. My dad has like I think my dad has bowled 300 games. Like, he was good. Wow, yeah. Like I heard, and I remember he had like a ton of bowling balls too. Like I remember he always had like 3 or 4 like in his room. Then he had like 4 or 5 like outside in his garage or whatever.
Wouldn't that be funny if they like were reading his will and the only thing he left to you were the bowling balls? You're like, come on, Dan.
What he actually left me because my sister, so you know, families, death happen, people get fickle and try to take everything,
sure,
right?
Yeah.
So my second oldest sister got his car. It was like a 1989 Mercedes. It was really nice that he kept well. I got a pendant that he used to wear sometimes. It was like a cool Leo pendant with like diamond stud earrings in the eyes of the lion.
Oh, cool! Which
is like I found out it's like really expensive, but like he would only wear that on special occasions. Like I would see it a few times, and he only wear like certain times. And then my mom like has that in her room, and until like I get like a chain or something like that, my mom is like, "You want to keep this?" I'm like, "No." You keep this in here because I know you got with all your other jewelry because I know you don't lose jewelry.
Right.
So I'm like, keep that.
Like I'm 11.
Yeah, I
can't be trusted with
seriously.
this. So
I was trying to wear it to school or some stuff, and then
he's like, you had the wherewithal to know that you weren't responsible.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So and then I don't know what my other sister got, but yeah. So that's what he left us, and then I remember my sister was living at the house, but then she didn't like keep up with the mortgage or whatever, and then lost the house. And I was like, oh no. I was like, my dad been here for ever.
Yeah.
I was like, 'cause he met my mom, he was living there.
Right.
So, and then he passed in like 2001, right? And so it was like 20, 30-year mortgage or whatever. So I'm like, I don't know when she lost the house, but I'm like, I know she could have kept it and so probably if she would have still had the house right now, it probably would have been paid off.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, how'd you lose that house that would have been paid off by now? But right now it's in the middle of a hood in Richmond though. That's the only thing bad thing about it. But I'm like, still, it would have been my dad's house. It would have been like a place we
sentimental, and it's still property. It's still, you know,
exactly.
You could be renting it out.
Exactly. What's the one thing you need in California? Like a house, property, like all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So, yeah. And at what point does your stepdad come into the picture?
Like I found out as you get older, they start telling you more stuff. So I found out that my mom met my stepdad before she even had us.
Oh.
So he was always kind of around.
Oh, funny.
And then, but it wasn't until afterwards, like she really got into church and stuff like that after like her and my dad like went through whatever. And then that's when they met and stuff like that. So literally my mom, I'm 1 year, so my mom married my stepdad when I was 1 year old. Like,
oh, wait, I don't know if I understand.
So yeah.
Okay.
So like right. So that's I was like, well, okay, all right. So I was 1. So I was at the wedding when I was 1 because they married July 14th, 1990.
Okay.
I was born June 11th, 1989.
Okay.
So like a year, a month, and like 3 days they was married after I was born. So it's always kind of like,
oh, I see. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. I didn't follow because I thought, I was thinking in my head, she got remarried after your dad passed away. But no. It was much earlier.
much
older.
Yeah.
Oh, so he really was there from the very beginning.
Yeah. And they were both always in my life, so that was always a cool thing about it. It wasn't like your dad's not here, stuff like that. Like, and so my dad is like my. So I call both of my. I used to always call them both my dads like that. And then my biological father used to get mad. I was like, well, Dad, I don't know what to say. What do I call him? He's like, you call him his name, and I was like, Lewis? I was like, I'm not calling him that. But then so it was always weird because then like when I talk to him and I talk about I say my dad, he knows who I'm referring to.
Yeah.
But then I remember when I'll be like I'll be at the house and I would call him Maxie. He's like, why are you calling me that? Because that was his name. He goes, why you calling me that? Your stepdad? I was like, no, it's just I don't know. Like when he's in front of me cooking breakfast or dinner, it's weird to be like, hey dad, because I say dad and he'd be like, you talking to me? I was like, oh no, I'm on the phone. So it'd be like weird, like to differentiate two. So he thought always put me against him, which I wasn't. I just didn't know what to call him and stuff like that. Yeah. But then like I don't like to call my stepdad. He's been there since I was 1 year old, so that's my dad. You know.
Yeah.
So like everyone's like, do you call your dad your stepdad? I was like, no, I don't call him that. But I say stepdad for other people not to get confused.
Sure.
Like I call my little brother my brother. Be like, I thought that's your cousin. I'm like, we had him since he was 2 weeks old. Right. That's my brother. Right. And I didn't start saying he was my actual brother to like high school. Because like other reasons, like problems in the family, and then my baby brother too. So like, but now it's like I got 3 older sisters and I got 2 younger brothers. Yeah. So I just claim everybody.
What's Lewis like? What kind of
so he's cool, laid back, chill dude. Like he's the opposite of my dad. My dad was like very stern Navy forceman, which I didn't understand why he was so mad, but it was because he was in the Navy. That's how he's taught. My dad's cool, relaxed, chill, low key. You know. He calls me dude. He doesn't even like. I have a joke about that where I was like, one time we was watching The Good Burger, right? And I used to say dude all the time, dude this, dude that, and in the music video, I'm a dude, she's a dude, we're a dude. And then I was like, so that movie came out in 1998. I was born in 1989. Yeah. And I was 8 years old.
You were
that,
prime
right?
Good Burger age. Yeah.
I was like, right? I was like, so for the last 21 years, I've just been dude. Corde's not even a thing, you know.
That's so funny.
I was like, my name ain't Corde. My name is dude to him. And I've asked him. I was like, Dad, why you call me dude? He was like, cause you my dude. You know, dude.
Yeah, that's right. Nice. Yeah.
And I was like, why don't you call me Cardelis? Because I asked my actual name. It's Cardelis. He was like, nah, you my dude. Dude. That's what I'm calling you. Dude, you know,
he sounds super fun. I like Lewis.
So that's the funny thing about it. And I was just like,
that's some dad ass shit right there.
Then I remember I was like trying to figure out. I was like, when did this happen? Why did he start calling me dude? And then I put 2 and 2 together. It was because the movie Good Burger.
That's so funny.
And then the song. I was like, oh, he started. And then so now. My best friend, every time he see my dad, he be like, dude, because that's how my dad says me. Every time he see me, he was, dude, what's up, man? How's it going? So it's always
it's good. And your mom and Lewis get along well. They
just celebrated their 29th year anniversary.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, that's rad.
They're doing great.
Yeah. So do they still live in Richmond? Where do they live?
Well, we moved to El Cervati now. It's like a town near Richmond. It's a better area.
Good for them. Yeah. Well, dude, this is a part of the show where I mentioned it earlier. Like I asked for a dad anecdote, or a dadecdote as I call them. And so, do you have like a favorite story you like to tell, either about like Lewis or about your dad? From you growing up, just something silly, something wacky. If you need a second to think about it, through the miracle of editing, you can take a second if you need to.
With my dad, I really don't have like a favorite memory or something like that. I just remember that he was even though I found him very annoying sometimes, he came to every single game, every single practice, and then that's why I was annoyed because I was like, he was always there critiquing me. Yeah. And then, but no, he missed one game. He missed one game, and I was mad about it because I actually got told, I was like, why you on every game? So I don't want you to be here and stuff. And then he came to that game, And that was one game he didn't come. And the next time I was like, Dad, I'm so sorry, Dad. I was like, you was there, you wasn't there. And I was like, and my mom came late, and there was nobody there to say anything to me and stuff. I was like, Dad, I'm so sorry. And it was like, I think a little bit before he passed too. And then because of that, I realized how important it is for you to be there, as like having a dad. Because I was like, he never missed any games except that one because I got mad at him. Didn't miss no practices. And then later, like, you know, it was my mom and my dad were both working, like my stepdad. They like missed some games, and I remember I would just think, like, I was like, no, if my dad was here, he wouldn't have missed this stuff. But then it was just like, but then he came to later games, right? And then I remember one time I was like, going back to like biological father. I remember I was working out, and then my homie was working out with our personal trainer, who actually my big bro. Him and his dad was at 24 Hour Fitness, and they was down on the basketball court because he played basketball, I played football, but we still worked out and could do some of the same stuff. I remember he was practicing with his dad, and like they was like shooting jumpers. He was coaching himself. I was like, damn, it was like a moment hit me, like, yo, that used to be my biological father when he was coaching me all the time. I was like, damn, why was I so like that as a kid? I was like, he just wanted to help me out. And I was like, yo,
man, it's tough, dude. Because you were just a kid. You didn't know,
Didn't know nothing. And like now, my baby brother, I'm hard on him. I was like, dude, why you always want to be late, dude? And I'm like, and I started seeing him. I was like, damn, I'm just like my dad. I was like, was he just like me? I was like, but then it's different because I'm like, he taught me not to. He taught me to always be on time about stuff. So I learned that from him. But then my little brother just like has no concept of time.
Sure.
Which I hate because I'm like, yo, you got to be here at a certain time because if you're not here at a certain time, the coach gonna make you run. And if you running, you ain't playing. And if you ain't playing, you ain't gonna play. You gonna be on the bench. If you ain't gonna be you don't want to be on the bench because you'll be wondering like, why I keep going to this practice and I ain't playing. So you need to be on time.
That's so funny.
And my stepdad, the dude thing always sticks with me.
It's a great story in and of itself.
Because he just always calls me dude, so it's like that's another thing that just sticks with me so much. So, because like he never. And then I remember I was like, yo, is you call all of us dude or you call me? He's like, nah, you my dude. I was like, he was like Cameron's cameraman, and then your baby brother is Snooks. That's like, because he has a name for everybody. Like my sister's name is Sneaker Peak. That's what he called it. It's like, and you dude. So you my dude, you know. And I was like, cool, I'm dude, you know, I'm dude. That's good. That's what it is.
Yeah. Dude, Corde, you've been so fun today. If people want more Corde Snell in their lives, where can they find you? You
can find me on Facebook at Corde Snell. You can find me on Instagram at Corde Made Yo Day. You can find me on Twitter at Corde Made YR Day, which is annoying because I remember instead of like having like, you know how they have Facebook's, Instagram, and Twitter all being the same thing to make it fucking easy to be found. Right. I thought I'll be more unique and make every single one different. Now looking back on it, that was a dumb fucking idea. You know?
I can link a few of your handles in the show notes if people want to find you and follow you.
So
thank you so much.
No problem, man.
And we're back. Corde, he's great. Follow him on all the social medias. I'll link his handles in the show notes if you want more Corde in your life. We had an absolute blast. He headlined our Monday show, our Sunday and Monday show, and our Monday show was just out of control fun. And Corde had a great set that night. So if you get a chance to see the guy, do it. Just do the darn thing. So cool. I'll be back next week. I'm either going to have one of two guests for you next week, either Justin Foster or a very funny man named Isaac Allen who's going to be in town. And so those will both, hopefully I can get them both and you guys will get both. But either way, at the very least, I'm pretty confident I'll get Isaac Allen on the show because he's crashing with me while he's up here. And then that's it. Rate and review on iTunes. I'd love you forever if you could do that. SadDadPodcast@gmail.com if you need to get a hold of me for any reason. Sad Dad Facebook page where we can talk about stuff. I don't know. You can tell me about. I always ask. How's your week been? You can actually tell me about it if you want. I'm usually just kind of like shouting that off into the sky, and then. Sad Dad Patreon if you want to help me with some of the hosting fees to get this bad boy posted. And then cool. And then if you're in the greater Fresno Clovis area, come to a comedy show. I was actually talking about this with Brandy Posey because Brandy Posey has she was up a couple weeks ago and she's got a podcast, and I've actually talked about it with Tom Goss too. His podcast, Mean Boys. Yeah, it's funny. There are. I mean, a lot of times I think as comedians we fool ourselves into thinking that podcast people are also comedy fans. And it's not always necessarily the case. There's obviously a lot of overlap, but it's so funny. Like they both have a similar thing to me, where like they've got a lot of listeners that really enjoy the show, but don't necessarily want to come to a comedy show. I'd encourage you though, if you can, just come out, check it out one time. Let me know you're coming. If it's a premium show, it's a Friday or Saturday. I'll either give you a steep discount or let you in for free if there's room. So just let me know ahead of time. Just reach out if you want to come see what it's all about. I'll make sure that I go up and do a long set so you can see me perform and see what it's all about. So cool. That is it for this week. Who's that? Me. It's you. Coming out here on your hoverboard. I'm just recording the outro right now. Okay. You got you want to talk to the people?
Sure. Why not?
I don't know if I can punch you in. Let me try. No, you got to come talk on this mic. Okay. You want to tell the people what's going on with you? What do you got coming up?
Tonight's back to school night at my school.
Yeah, it is. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm just not excited for the first day.
When is that?
Tomorrow.
Oh.
Maybe I think when like the podcast is already recorded and edited and post out or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's called I'm probably already gonna be in school.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. 3rd grade. I remember 3rd grade.
Yeah.
It was a fun year. I had a teacher named Mrs. Berkfold. She didn't like me very much. No? But I think your teacher's going to like you.
Yeah.
You're very likable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who. You got so many friends, too? You have way more friends than I did when I was in school.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Well, that was the end of the show. Do you want to send these people off?
Adios.
Adios, you guys. We'll be back next week. Thanks.